Why is experiencing death on other planets said to be a very thrilling feeling? To give you an intuitive sense of it, I am going to throw you out of the spaceship next to experience deadly planets in the solar system. By then, you'll see just how rare Earth actually is in the universe. First, let's start with Mercury. Although this is the planet closest to the Sun, not everywhere is scorching hot. If you choose to land on the day side of Mercury, you will immediately feel a terrifying heat wave of up to 430 degrees Celsius. Since Mercury does not have a thick atmosphere but only a thin exosphere, this lets solar radiation blast to the ground. Even wearing the most advanced spacesuit today, it can only withstand temperatures around 120 degrees. A few seconds later, the spacesuit's insulation will fail to block this heat wave and the cooling system will instantly fail. You will face deadly exposure and agonizing pain. Not only will your skin be burned by UV rays, but all body water will rapidly evaporate. Even though there are plenty of gray rocks and craters all around, they are baked hot under the sun, acting like burning furnaces, leaving you nowhere to hide. In less than 10 seconds, you will lose consciousness due to burns and choking. But if you stand on Mercury's night side, the situation is quite different. With no atmosphere to regulate temperature, the side without sunlight baking it, we'll see temperatures plummet to minus 180 degrees. The level of cold is simply unsurvivable. If you want to survive on Mercury, the best way is to land in the Terminator zone, where temperatures are relatively moderate. Next, let's turn to Venus. Even though this planet is further from the Sun than Mercury, because Venus has an exceptionally dense atmosphere, it is even hotter than Mercury, with surface temperatures reaching as high as 467 degrees Celsius. During your landing process on Venus, you will see sunlight filtering through thick clouds, emitting an eerie yellow glow. These are made of concentrated sulfuric acid, which can severely damage your lungs within seconds. Even if you have a highly advanced spacesuit that can filter out sulfuric acid, the moment you land, 92 times the standard atmospheric pressure will easily crush your body. At the same time, the air is filled with dense carbon dioxide and nitrogen, making visibility very low. It is also highly toxic. Soon, you would be swallowed up by the thick smog. The only silver lining is that you won't get soaked by acid, because the acid in Venus's atmosphere, before reaching the ground, has evaporated from high heat. It can be said Venus is the closest place to hell, even if a civilization really existed there once. Any traces of their existence would be completely wiped out. After flying past Earth, this blue oasis, we arrive at Mars, the planet humans are most likely to migrate to. Compared to Venus, Mars's daytime temperatures are lower, with the maximum being only about 20 degrees Celsius. But at night, the temperature on Mars can plummet to minus 140 degrees Celsius. And just like Mercury, Mars's atmosphere is very thin, with extremely low oxygen. Therefore, there is very little air available for humans to breathe. Though you, in a protective suit, can stand safely on Mars. During a dust storm with winds of 100 kilometers per hour, your helmet unfortunately cracks. Air pressure will cause moisture on your tongue and lungs to boil. But a cold, painless hiss will come from inside your body, and your skin will feel varying tightness. Though you won't explode, the liquid in your blood begins to form bubbles. In less than 10 short seconds, symptoms of hypoxia will rapidly manifest. Next, you only have 15 to 20 seconds of consciousness, since heat cannot be effectively conducted on Mars at all. At this moment, your body begins to lose heat. Moisture in your eyes and lungs evaporates fast. Your exposed skin will feel the onset of extreme cold, and your vision gets blurred. After about 30 seconds, you will lose consciousness due to severe hypoxia. And Mars's low pressure and cold climate will also mummify your remains, thereby preserving them. Perhaps in the distant past, Mars was once suitable for life to exist. But nowadays, for defenseless humans, it is merely a dead wasteland. Now, let us continue outward, arriving at the largest gas giant in the solar system, Jupiter. Since there is no solid surface here, Falling into Jupiter is like dropping into an abyss. When you first enter Jupiter's mild upper atmosphere, you will experience a brief and comfortable freefall. But soon, pulled by 2.5 times Earth's gravity, you begin to plunge rapidly, while facing jet streams sweeping through clouds at over 600 kilometers per hour. Not only does the heat drop to minus 150, but massive, intricate, and violent storms will also toss you in all directions. As you continue to descend, pressure increases relentlessly. At about 50 kilometers down, pressure is dozens of times Earth's. But temperatures also rise sharply. If you successfully pass through these clouds and descend about 150 kilometers, then congratulations, you will reach the deepest depth ever explored by humanity, the gas mixture layer. As the gas becomes denser, your body is also sharply compressed, eventually entering a dark abyss where even sunlight cannot penetrate. There, the only light is the intense lightning piercing the sky, while thunder is drowned out by strong winds, by that deafening roar. Now, your bones break under hundreds of times the atmospheric pressure, and the violent storm constantly tears your body, ultimately decompose into molecules by pressure and heat, merging into Jupiter's vast atmosphere. And before you even touch Jupiter's core region, you have been vaporized. Right next to Jupiter is the second largest planet, Saturn. The first challenge you face now is to avoid colliding with any of its 274 surrounding moons. Then, you will see its iconic rings. These rings are composed of ice particles, dust, or some remnants of moons. They orbit the planet at tens of thousands of kilometers per hour. Even with an advanced protective suit, a pebble-sized rock would instantly penetrate and tear your body apart. And your blood, exposed to space, would scatter within the rings, instantly turning into shimmering, crimson ice crystals, since sound cannot travel in a vacuum. So, the entire process takes place in an eerie silence, and your remains will forever orbit with Saturn's rings, becoming a part of them. Even if you are lucky enough to enter Saturn's atmosphere, its fate is similar to Jupiter's, eventually being crushed to pieces by the cold, dense hydrogen and helium. Next, we arrive at the coldest gas ice giant in the solar system, Uranus, which is also the only planet that rotates lying on its side. Its rotation speed is faster than Earth's. A day lasts only 17 hours. Just like with Saturn, when landing on Uranus, you must avoid crashing into its rings. Once you pass through the rings, you will quickly be surrounded by toxic gases, and the temperature will plummet to minus 224 degrees Celsius. If the extreme cold and toxic gases fail to kill you, you descend to the upper atmosphere. There are many ice particles, and you'll have the privilege to see a diamond rain driven by wind speeds of 900 kilometers per hour. With pressure about 1 million times that of Earth, it will crush you into frozen fragments. Finally, we have reached the end. Neptune. Unlike Uranus, this beautiful blue ice giant has the most violent weather in the solar system. Though its atmosphere is slightly warmer than Uranus, its wind speeds reach up to 2,100 kilometers per hour, making them the fastest winds in the solar system. When you enter Neptune's upper atmosphere, you might catch a glimpse of some massive storm systems, but you'll be swallowed by storms. Under the full impact of supersonic storms, those tiny frozen methane particles will turn into sharp shrapnel, ruthlessly tearing you to pieces. Even before you have time to react, you'll be decomposed by Neptune's endless storms, completely vanishing into this wasteland. And with that, your deadly journey ends. The conclusion of every mission proves the exact same thing, which is that, compared to the deadly environments of other planets, Earth is like a gentle safe haven, the most perfect habitat for human life. Here, you can bathe in the warm sunshine and take a deep breath of oxygen, enjoying every moment of peace. Perhaps the purpose of exploring the universe is not to find the next perfect Earth, but to learn how to cherish and protect what we have right now, this miraculous blue planet.